Welcome everyone to the main event of ZOWIE Divina Women's Invitational PUBG Tournament. Yesterday we had an explosive duos show match, and now we're going to be going on to the solos competition. My name is Cameron Davis, and I am joined on the desk by Toby and Esquire. Welcome, gentlemen. Welcome,
Thank you.
Esquire.
Yeah, good to be here.
Yeah, so this is the main event. As we said, there was a show match last time for yesterday, won by Sunny as well as Mame Tasso. Very good performance by them, but now everything's wiped clean. We saw a lot of good performances by a number of people, not just the duo that won. Esquire, so you were sitting back and watching basically the whole time. What are your thoughts on what to expect coming in onto this competition?
I mean, I think you can expect sort of the same thing in terms of players playing it passive, right? A lot is on the line here, Cameron. 3 days, 5 games a day. You don't want to be having a poor performance on day number 1. So I think a lot of the players are going to be trying to feel out how the lobby is going to play out as a solo lobby as opposed to the duos lobby that we saw yesterday.
So one of the main differences that we have is going to be the points distribution. If we can actually get that pulled up, it's going to be different from what we saw yesterday. It's going to reward positioning and placement more so. As you can see in front of you, you get first for 120 points for first, and it goes down in a more linear fashion, all the way down to 0 for 48, and you get 10 points per kill. Toby, what are some of the main sort of contrasts between this and then the format that we had yesterday?
I mean, the fact that you get more points for placements alone will mean that you don't have to take those early fights that we ended up seeing yesterday. Okay. But don't get me wrong, I mean, 10 points per kill, that's still a ton of points to rack up. And we talked about yesterday how team synergy and that stuff would be core in yesterday's games. Today, that's completely out of the picture. It's all down to the raw individual skills.
Okay, let's look at the prize pool as well, if we can get that pulled up. Yesterday, it was for a bunch of ZOWIE gear, but for this one, it's going to be a total of $15,000 that these ladies are going to be playing for. First place gets $5,000, second gets $3,000, third gets second, and then 4th through 8th gets $1,000. Anything below that, you have nothing. So of the 48 people, you really want to be in the top 8, for sure.
Yep, I mean, that's exactly right, Cameron. And as we saw, I mean, the points are kind of top-heavy, right? You really don't get anything for going out early on, and you're going to be very well rewarded if you end up in those maybe top 5 positions, especially with kills.
Here's the schedule right now. It's going to be the same as yesterday. It's just on the hour, 5 matches a day, coming out to 15 total after the next 3 days are fully played out. And that's a lot of matches. Compare that to yesterday, where it was just 5, where one bad match really could be enough to take you out of the competition if it wasn't countered, of course, by an explosive match the next time around. But with this time, there's 15 matches, so there's a little bit of wiggle room, but it also means that you can't bank your entire performance on 1 or 2 explosive rounds where you get a number of kills. You need to have a good, consistent performance to kind of lift all of that up. Now, Phil, I did want to throw this over to you because we did mislead our audience yesterday. We led them to believe that it would start off incredibly aggressive yesterday. That didn't exactly happen. It was a slow start. Once these girls started to get into it, they got comfortable with their randomized duo partner as well as getting comfortable in the fact that this is a competition and they are playing for something. They started to get more aggressive. Do we expect the velocity of these games to tank back down to the bottom, or do we think solos are going to continue that momentum up?
Well, here's the thing. I think it's going to start out maybe a little bit aggressive. There's going to be a lot more, I guess, enemy teams. We've got 48 teams of solos as opposed to 24 teams of duos. So a lot more of the map is going to be taken up by enemy threats. So we might see the early game be a little bit action-packed, but then we're quickly going to see it maybe turn into a bit of a stalemate for a few minutes before we get into the meat of Sanhok.
Yeah, and actually speaking of meat on Sanhok, Toby, what can the audience expect as far as how solo is going to be played out, whether it's meta or pacing, compared to duos on this map?
I mean, Phil kind of put a little word on it there, saying that there's going to be essentially twice the amount of compounds or areas taken early on as we're all individuals against each other in this game. So we could barely even have people yesterday land without being somewhat near to one another. There will be those instant kills because one picks up a weapon, one doesn't. Those deaths will happen. They will throughout today. But then I feel like the pressure is going to go a little down. It's going to get a little slower in the mid pace, and then in the end, if they're forced close, like if enough people make it into late game, it will be same as yesterday, edge fighting all over the place. The center people just sitting there watching the kill feed, saying placements, placements, placements.
Do we expect to have as heavy of a edge play from yesterday? Because, Phil, I mean, I'm sure you remember this watching all those games. A lot of people were just incredibly scared to go in towards the center. And now that there's no partner to kind of revive you if you do overstep and you do come across someone who's holding an angle, are we going to expect an even heavier edge play, or do we think that the freedom of just moving by yourself is going to allow a little bit of greater disparity throughout the map?
Yeah, I mean, before I get into that, I have to say positioning is going to be key here.
Yeah.
Right? It's going to be incredibly important. So whether or not you decide to play the edge or the center, it's going to be just, I guess, pertinent that you find a spot that is going to be good for the circle that you are looking at. But I think with that, duos, it's great to bomb center, right? As many transitions as you can cut out of your gameplay in that game, it's going to be beneficial for you. And I think that plays out even more so in solos. So you want to try to center up as fast as possible, not play the edge, and try to minimize the transitions.
But we didn't see a lot of that happen. So many
Right.
people continued to play the edge,
Yeah.
though. Why? I mean, but either of you can answer this question. Why would that be?
I think it's going to come way more down to the fact we talked about when you're in squad, you can look in 90 degrees. When you're duo, you can technically go back and forth. But when you're solo, you need to hold everything on your own. You simply cannot make those moves.
All right, well, we're going to see how everything pans out because we were entering the very first match of today of the main event. And so I'm going to throw it over to the commentators, Toby and Esquire.
All right, let's get game number 1 underway here for the ZOWIE Divina PUBG tournament. That plane path for map number 1 going to be coming off of the eastern edge just south of Lakawi, heading up there towards the northwest. So not a bad plane path, Toby.
Real quickly, how many people are going boot camp?
How many people?
Yeah.
You tell me, Toby.
5.
Alrighty, well, we'll see if Toby is going to be right here, but certainly we did see some visitors to boot camp in our show matches yesterday.
There's no one there.
But we do know that it is quickly going to change here. The styles, the strategies that will be employed throughout the entirety of the next 3 days will be different from what we saw in the duos matches. All is on the line here for these ladies to walk away with hopefully a little bit of prize money in their pockets.
There is not a single player inside boot camp, but that guy's going to go just a bit north there in the warehouse. Oh, no, she actually does go boot camp. So there you go. One player dares to go into boot camp.
That's going to be a lot of loot, Toby. Vendetka is going to be extremely happy with what she will be walking away with here. But already, just looking at that map, we saw that a lot of players have landed near one another. 2 in particular, going to be Doopsy and Little Big Whale trying to loot up here. We see a micro Uzi in the hands of Doopsy as she continues to at least try to work her way through these shacks, knowing full well that an enemy threat is close nearby.
We saw a Little Big Whale yesterday with that Vector in hand. We saw her just pick it up here as well. We know it's one of her favorite weapons on this map, so put that weapon in her hands. That's going to be dangerous. But look at also down by Painan, the little river town down there. There's so many people landing on that side. That's probably all the people that could have gone boot camp that all ended up in the small town down by the river.
Yeah, it's certainly like we saw, a lot of congestion. We will see players start to feel out the lobby, start to see where on the map is going to be a little bit more favorable for them to drop continuing on here through the tournament. But like you mentioned, Painan, very, very jam-packed. We've got Majesty, Charlie, Sanson, Miss Gucci, Anakin, and May too, all trying to loot up different areas. But for the most part, these 5 players have found their own quadrants of this river town.
I must say that I really, really love the fact that we get the players' actual faces and pictures in on the team logos here. I think it's a great, great addition. Just goes to showboat even more how well these guys at IMB or Impa they are doing with the production.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right, Toby. Exactly right. So just starting to see the beginning phases of game number 1. All of these players trying to maneuver this tricky, very congested area as Tume, going to be sitting here behind a rock knowing full well that Saki is in the building right below her, and she's going to be firing. First blood of the game will be going the way of Tume.
And this is the thing with solos. There is simply no comeback in those plays. You get spotted out in the back, you get shot. There's just no counter play. Mama Sato goes out as well. She was the winner of yesterday's tournament. She goes out 0 points in game number 1. This is going to be absolutely brutal coming. I mean, that's just what we're going to see throughout the entire tournament.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Solos is a whole different ballpark than duos, and we did see Little Big Whale go out in the kill feed as well, as CC going to be hanging out here inside of the shack. Here's the footsteps of her opponent, Rachel, right outside of the building, and will be lying in wait for Rachel to enter the building. But here she comes, prepped and ready with the M416, spots her out, sprays her down, and walks away with a first kill for CC here early on, but taking a lot of damage in return. We'll have to pick up some much-needed loot, hopefully some meds as well, and start gaining back that HP.
She didn't have a vest on, sitting then holding the angle, so fortunately, she got her down quick enough to avoid the damage coming in return. But these, I mean, the fact that we lose Momentazo and Little Big Whale this early on, 2 of the, I believe the actual 2 top fraggers of the duo show match yesterday, them going out this early, that's going to be really, really interesting to see how it's going to impact the rest of the game.
I mean, here's the thing, Toby. You got to completely wipe the slate clean from what we saw yesterday.
Yeah.
Everything yesterday, it was a duos tournament. It was a show match. There were language barriers to be played out there between Team Synergy. got to completely disregard what we saw yesterday. We know full well that there are 48 skilled women here to play PUBG, all from around the globe. And so it's anyone's game here to try to walk away with that first place position at the end of the tournament.
I mean, an underline skill. Look at the flying coming in there. Oh, actually flies into a rock. The only thing she did not want to hear. There you go, Katarina now trying to contain her down behind this tree.
Yeah, stuck behind the tree. Not many places for her to go. As Katarina will be looking down there, continues to spray out some shots with the M416, landing one mark, dropping her down to about 70 HP. As she continues to look on, both players trying to catch peeks behind the left and right sides of the tree. One connection coming out the way of Nuis.
There you go, shot connected and returned one another. And I mean, but yesterday was crazy with how much third partying was a thing. Here, I think people might just like double think whether they want a third party something, because there could be a fourth hiding in the area as well. But of course, this being this early in the game, there not being anyone around them, this could stall for a little while.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredibly important on Sanhok. Every time you take a shot, a few shots, you have to be watching every angle around you. Check your 6, check your 3, check your 9, because there are going to be players moving up on your position. Nice shots coming out, though. It's going to be Nuis taking down Katarina Suki in 44th position here in game number 1.
Yelena now and Smile sitting each their side of the compound. She's trying to make a run for it now. I'm sure she has seen the opponent as she has taken damage, but now the big question is going to be whether she'll make the push on this or not. Again, these solo games, there's absolutely no backup to pick up. If you get hit, if you go down, you're out of the game. It's brutal. I mean, there's absolutely no help coming in.
Yeah, exactly right. Smile Queen right now, one of our players from China, will be exhibiting one of the unique factors about Sanhok. You've got a bunch of tables, you got a bunch of chairs inside of these buildings that you can almost prop yourself up on to try to get that advantage on any players trying to enter in. But it's going to be Nui. She recently took down Katarina. She's going to be spotted out by Ting right now, moving down the exact same hill that Katarina was taken down on, but continuing on, will be crossing that dangerous wide open bridge, able to make it to the other side safely, and now trying to find some hard cover.
I actually like to see the fact that she jumps off the bike immediately as she comes. I know it did flip a little, but she jumps off immediately, and now, as we see her smile, took damage before, but now she wants to re-engage in this fight, pushing inside the building. Anakin going down as well.
Yelena going to be crouching outside of the building. Smile Queen hears the footsteps, but will she be able to catch her off guard? Holding a peek on the left side of the door right now, just waiting for Yelena to show her any part of her body to get those shots, put out the damage, and hopefully walk away with a kill. Mutant is prepped and ready 4 times, will be spotting her out, pops off 3 or 4 rounds of 7.62, does not hit the mark, and that's going to force Yelena back inside of this shack just across from the position of Smile Queen.
Unfortunately, as you can say, they're both very much centered in the circle. Now we'll see with the new circle popping in a second whether they'll be in or not, but they have the time to stall this fight for a little while, but as you can see, Yelena actually making a run for it, I would assume. Here, she's no interested in taking this fight. She's outside the compound now, doesn't have the exact position of the opponent. Smart play.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. You go out right now, Toby, you are going to be hurting for points.
Yeah.
You want to try to push it at least into the top 20 before you start picking your battles.
Can I just throw it in here? Paleolite did this exact same thing when she was playing duos yesterday. Go out on the edge, get those placements. She told me that yesterday she weren't aware of the placement points being the way that they were. The fact that you only get placement points in 4th, that's why they dropped so center in the last game. But then now I see you doing the exact same thing again with the boat on the edge.
Yeah, and you can't fault Paleolite at all for
Not at
that
all,
strategy because it is incredibly top heavy. Kills will be worth 10 points a pop, but why not pick those up at the end of the game where it really matters, where you're able to combine it with those placement points.
Lady Aceto got herself a win yesterday as well. Now taking shots over towards Sunny, one of the other top players of the duo show match yesterday. Actually, one of the winners in yesterday's tournament. We did see Mamitasu go down early on, and now Sunny is trying to make a run around the compound.
Yeah, we'll be working her way up this hill right now. Just 8 minutes here into game number 1. We've seen 6 players drop out so far. 42 teams, 42 players will be remaining here in round number 1 of day 2 of the Divina PUBG event.
Interesting to me, honestly, that no more people went down early. Oh, Pally. What?
You know, Toby,
Oh, she hit herself with the boat when she jumped out. That's what happened. Okay,
Yeah.
I was like, wait, what? Because Xiaoyu, she took shots at her. I was like, how do you kill yourself with a boat? But she tried to jump out because she was taking shots, probably forced out the boat there. Unfortunately, though, hit her in the back of the head, and that's going to be her down and out.
Yeah, unfortunately, that is one of the risks you run when you take vehicles in PUBG. They can certainly serve to help you, but they can also be your detriment if you end up maneuvering it a little bit improperly right now. But Nonomiya going to be caught out right now by Lele from Team Tai Lu. She spots her out, puts out a lot of damage, forcing Nomiya right back inside of the shack, trying to get some cover and recover that HP. before this engagement resets. But Lele will be wrapping around the right side of the hill, trying to spot out any third party coming her way.
MyPie making the run around the corner. Her and Roxy actually played on the same team yesterday, and it's going to be MyPie securing himself the kill there. 10 points in the bank and lives for yet another, at least engagement. We'll see. We'll see how far it goes. But I mean, you talked about how skilled these players were earlier. We just have to underline that. I mean, some of the things we saw yesterday, some of the things we've seen already here today, these players are very, very, very much capable of playing with the very top of people in PUBG.
I mean, yeah, they wouldn't be here if they weren't. These are the top female players from around the globe chosen to come and compete here in Shanghai, China at the ZOWIE event. But it's going to be Doopsy spots out Eto around the right side of the building. The Vector will be in full effect. The headshot coming out and taking her down in 40th position.
And that's the power of the Vector. Not only does it shoot extremely fast, but you saw before the Observer even got over to the character, she was already reloaded and ready to go again. You will need to be able to like sort of transition from fight to fight this quickly, especially coming into the late game when the map gets smaller and these players get closer to one another.
Yeah, the Vector notoriously one of the favored weapons here on Sanak. You pop an extended quick mag in that gun, and you are going to be a force to be reckoned with. As we do see Lady Aceto going to be pushed up on right now by Vendetka coming off of the river, pushing through this compound very slowly, possibly seeing at least the indication that it has been looted, forcing you to play a little bit more cautiously as you push through that town. But up here on the northeastern side of the circle, going to be Sminty facing off against Yasa, who is now moving in as well, trying to secure that position inside of circle number 2 here in game number 1.
Yasa is making the run up the hill. I'm not sure she's aware of Sminty's position. You can see she's playing it really careful, but I don't think it has anything to do with her knowing there's a player there. It's more just the fact that you have to play at this tempo. You have to be constantly on the move, never be predictable in any way if you want to play Sanak. Because, again, we talked about them being solo players. You need to pick, if you can, pretty much every single rock, every single tree, and it's going to take time to do so. You cannot just sprint forward.
No. You got to move slowly and methodically here in these Sanak matches, as we are seeing a lot of players clustered up here on the northeastern side. So if this battle erupts, we are absolutely going to see some third-party action popping off between the multitude of players who have now started to congregate towards this area.
And this is so unfortunate. Looking at the map right here, you can see you have the water in the northern side, you have the road in the southern side. Neither people want to make the run through those, so they all try and narrow their way into the middle. There you go. Yasa does take it down. Rocket securing himself the kill with the M4 there, but the shots were heard from multiple people. And now Sunny over on the backside here. She just gonna sit down, make her get her HP back on up to top, prepare herself for the fight. But as you can see as well, Lizzie wanting to third party this one too.
Yes, the whole question becomes now who is going to be able to reset this engagement faster than the other opponent up here on this northeastern side. But Sminty will be spotting out Sunny, takes her down with some very nicely placed shots from the QBU, and that is going to tell Lizzie, do not enter in off of this angle, make that rotation down to the south and find another entry point into circle number 3.
Lizzie had some really smart solo plays yesterday where she, like, just her ability to disengage fights and get it around and inside the circle anyway, actually played that extremely well. Would expect to see her do the same thing. As you can see, she's trying to hold off the angle on the edge. As Sminty is making her way further on down. She knew more people were up here, and now she's trying to see if she can find some of them.
Yeah, she will be looking over in Lizzie's direction. Rocket as well, positioned up here on the hill, trying to look out over the horizon to see if she can spot any enemy threats. As Sminty continues on, she's got that wonderful barrel 7.62. It's, I wouldn't say necessarily the favorite
did
weapon.
you just call it wonderful?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. On live servers, it's absolutely wonderful, but we are playing on the event servers, which is a few patches behind live servers right now. So Sminty will be utilizing this. Hopefully she's got the grips that she needs. The vertical grip can do wonders, but she is going to be running right into Lizzie, who has been hanging out in the blue zone for quite a long time. A shot comes out from the M24, going to be sending Sminty down to her death as she is wiped out with a spray from the M416 in 37th position.
Really smart play from Lizzie. You see sometimes when people hit that first M24 shot, they'll try to go for the second as well. She knows how much damage she did, pulls out the M4, finishes out the kill. And now we got Tume in a fight down here just up against Sunny. Sunny coming into this tournament in the qualifiers, winning 3 out of the 6 solo games.
Nade's coming out, trying to apply some zoning pressure of her opponent across the bridge as both of these players try to position themselves and get the drop on to one another. Sunny will be spotting out a nice crate as well, but she's not going to be able to position over towards it, but spots out Tume, going to be spraying down with the M416, not landing any shots, but certainly applying the much-needed pressure.
There you go, see more people making their way up here. Now Sanson both heard the shot and probably also saw that nifty little red box come down from the sky. It is a Groza, and of all weapons you want to fight with up close, this is like the AR of Vectors, essentially. If you do want to get that weapon, pick it up and get yourself that level 3 gear as well.
Yeah, some players love it, some players hate it, but if there's one thing we know about the Groza is it absolutely shreds armor and it shreds health. So we'll see if it will be utilized to a beneficial effect here in game number 1. As Sunny continues to hold this position on the riverbeds just north of Painan, looking on, trying to find some opponents. And I mean, Toby, we see Terran right now off in the blue zone, off to the northwest. A lot of players have been favoring taking these very slow, methodical pushes, taking a little blue damage for that extra needed safety.
There you go, Helen taking out CC as well. Once again, the duo from yesterday fighting each other with one Victor in all of it. And as well, you see here, Polly making the run on down. She knows there's a player in the water. But the big question is going to be here, will the person in the water be able to take shots up, or is it still too deep for her to stand? Oh, she has an 8 in hand, so she's able to do so.
We'll be holding out here on the riverbed, just trying to look, trying to spot out where this threat is. One player in the blue zone, one player in safety. As CC continues to look on, trying to spot out Polly in whatever way she can. But both of these players having the much-needed cover. We'll see, though. It's going to be a few seconds before CC or Polly ends up spotting the other, but both are trying to be prepped and ready for that moment.
I see the new circle pop as well. It's gone far away from both of these players. So whoever wins this will need to start moving quickly, because as you can see, just 25 seconds until the circle starts moving once more, and they will have a lot of players to make their run through coming down into the next circle. Polly holding the ankle here. She knows she has it down here. That nade did not help her trying to hide her position at all. And now you got Sissy still in the blue. Just getting those meds going, wanting to stall for as long as you can. And eventually, Paulie will have to make this run through because she's simply spending too much time. But now Sissy in the water, trying to swim around, wants to get the info. And Paulie, she needs to either peek this and try to go for the kill or start running because this blue is making its way in.
Yeah, this is essentially the moment that CC was waiting for, hoping that Paulie would make the move. But CC now has to move as well. The blue damage will become a little bit too much for either of these players to handle. But Paulie wrapping around, not spotting out CC just yet. CC was able to relocate her position on the flip side of Paulie. Now the gatekeeper has become the gate capped as CC tries to get that first aid going. Will be spotted out though, and that's going to be a beautiful kill going the way of Paulie using that nice QBZ.
Just going to say, I hope that Paulie has the meds to do it. She has 10 first aids. You know what? I think she'll make it down to that circle just fine. Oh, Laylee, not so much though. Oh, does manage to get away from the fortunately not cooked well enough. So Raquette and Laylee also far outside the circle, trying to fight through this one, and that's going to be a shot in the foot from Raquette. Terran Receipt going down as well. Yamroll securing itself to finish off with the SLR.
Yeah, players dropping left and right at this point in the game. This is starting to reach the boiling point of these Sanhok matches here in the solo bracket, where players just start dropping out left and right. 29 players remaining here, just shy of that 20-minute mark, as Elizabeth positioned just on top of Sven up on top of the hill. We'll be trying to spot them out, but Coney going to be spotted out as well, trying to retreat off of those shots. The Pan providing some much-needed armor as she makes that retreat.
Very much needed armor, that's for sure. She barely even took any damage. Mask outside the circle saying, wait, did I just hear Pan shot there? Oh, you gotta be kidding me. The AK does so much damage, and all of that was nullified by that great kitchen accessory on her back. Now let's see, though, it does make her way. I mean, there are a lot of people outside the circle still. Once this fourth circle connects, it's going to start tanking a hell of a lot of damage. So these people, they need to start moving forward.
I mean, yeah, this has been the strategy for a lot of the women here in this tournament. Take that blue zone damage, opt into the safer route at the expense of some of the meds that you've been able to find. Maipai going to be picking up a kill on Mathia right now as Elizabeth will be cresting over the hill. Spots out Lady Aceto down the hill. Will be popping out the SLR to land those shots, and she will be landing them. Vendetka wipes her out. Easy shots from the SLR.
Look at this. We have 24 people alive and no one inside. Xiaoyu, though, gets herself the kill onto Yelena. Not a whole lot more to it than that. The snake kills the snake. That's just how it is. And with this circle hard shifting, look at how many people are still on the eastern side of the water.
Yes, we are just under half of our lobby remaining now. 23 players alive at the 18-minute and 30-second mark. And Smile Queen doing exactly what she should be at this point in time, looking into the blue zone, trying to spot out enemy threats moving in. If there's one thing we've seen, Toby, that's unique to this match in particular, it's a lot of players hiding out in the blue, taking their time.
Yeah, Mask actually paying the ultimate price for that, dying outside the circle. You see Paul is still in the far northern side too, and now Smile Queen down here, only 5 bandages to play with. Trying to get the angle, but Tome, in the meantime, taking out Tanya.
A nice kill. Pick up the second kill for Tumai here in game number 1. Pick that loot up wide in the open, but quickly reset it as Smile Queen will be spotting out. Nui's takes her down. That is going to be the first kill going the way of China's Smile Queen as she continues to try to reset this herself, reloading that mutant and trying to spot out MaiPai on the other side of the rock. MaiPai knows very well where the threat is. The shotgun going to be coming out, not able to land the shots, and down goes Smile Queen to the UMP of MaiPai.
Points for effort. Not often you see the dual barrel used in competitive play, but great to see it there. Elizabeth, though, taken down in the end. Helen securing herself her second kill of the game there. Great play. And now everybody making their way over. As you can see, Tumai on the bridge and Rocket in the water. They need to make their way inside the circle really fast.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, Toby. We see the double barrel and shotguns, I guess, primarily used a lot in the eastern regions. It's really the favored weapon in PUBG in those eastern regions. Not so much in the west just yet, but man, does that gun pack a punch, especially in those close range scenarios. As we see phase number 6 going to be shifting down here to the south, and a lot of migrations have to happen from the north.
Look at this great little compound down here. I mean, it's so dead center. Charlie, unfortunately, going down in Painan, where she landed. We're too slow to leave the city there. Will go down and out in 10th place. But looking at, I mean, it's just everybody is edge, and you have Sanson that's center. I mean, it's pretty interesting, this setup, because you have people on the northern side. You see it right here in the compound. All of these people, they will have to leave in just 15 seconds.
Yep, it's going to be 9 players remaining. Nice nade coming out on the opposite side of the vehicle where Tumai is hanging out, but she's going to be prepping a grenade of her own to toss into this window, and there's not a lot of room for Vendetta to move to, and she's going to be going out in 9th position as Tumai now makes that transition, trying to get into the safe zone. She's going to be quickly spotted out by Sunny with the M416 taken down as well, leaving us with just 7 players left.
And that is just the name of the game. Once you play around these compounds late game, there will be more than one other guy there. Unfortunately, though, Tumai forced to make the run for it, taken down as she tried to go in. Now, though, circle's closing in, and these guys, they will have to make their way forward because there's only one guy sitting inside the circle. Xiaoyu on the western side, Sanson in here, then the mix as well, and you got Helen and Sunny up on the northern side.
All slowly moving their way in from the north, trying to methodically make their way without losing too much in the process as we approach that 21-minute mark. Everyone now knows that they have secured at least a whopping amount of points, and it is not going to stop here as Sunny continues to frag out, picking up her second kill with the M416 on top of Helen. As she tries to quickly reset this, tries to get that HP up before the blue zone will be taken away, and it looks like she's got enough time. She's going to actually stop that first aid, continue running in as Sanson is now forced to reposition as well, spotted out by Mai too, and it's only a matter of time before that spray comes out of the UMP.
Sanson has played so well individually in this, I mean, coming into yesterday's game when I saw her standing over the shoulder looking at some of the scrims, they were playing very good individual skill and level. Has the barrel in hand. Mai too, though, knows of her position, so it'll be interesting to see if she, despite the fact that she might not get the first shot, will be able to win that one. Also, MaiPai, right before we started the tournament today, she was sitting, she was playing some public games, actually won a game with 9 kills right before the start of this tournament. It's got to be great to be in the top 5 in the first game here as well.
Yeah, I mean, of course, Toby. Of course. It does feel good to be in the top 5. Everyone kind of holding on to these positions, not wanting to be the first one to move, the first one to be spotted out. But if there's anything we know at this point in time, that blue zone will be chunking away at the HP. Sanson going to be up. Mai going to be up as well. Spots Sanson out, and down she goes in 5th position, leaving us with our top 4 players in game number 1, all having to move into this next circle that has shifted a little bit over towards the west-hand side of things as she spots out one of the players up here towards the northeast. MaiPai going to be quickly retreating behind some cover, now opting to take some blue zone damage as they continue their trek on into the safe zone.
Sunny has made her way in. Mai also just exactly inside. Xiaoyu has spotted out Mai saw just before. Oh, she has a position down up to. She's going to be out in the blue, though. She has to keep on running forward. She's miles out in the open. Now she might just be forcing this one too much. Look where she is. She's completely in the open. Fortunately, nobody looking in her direction.
Every single point of HP is going to matter here. Taking blue zone damage will be so detrimental to what you're trying to achieve here. Trying to walk away with that first place chicken dinner in the very first game of the solos tournament here at the ZOWIE DIVINA PUBG Invitational. As these 4 players continue to look on, though, it's going to be spotted out. That's going to be she picking up a nice kill on top of MaiPai through the grass, and down they go. Top 3 remaining.
I mean, I'm just when I heard Sunny winning 3 out of 6 games coming into the tournament, I was like, how is that even possible? And the fact that she's here already in game number 1, that's just impressive to me. She's been fighting throughout the game. Same thing going for Xiaoyu. She did get some circles in her direction down here on the southern side a couple of times, but the fact that Sunny from the northern side has made it all the way down here inside top 3 down, that's absolutely insane. And look at this Xiaoyu. She knows she has a bit to go forward, and she's using the utility to her advantage.
Yeah, exactly. Setting the landscape right now is what Xiaoyu will be doing, getting those smokes out for that much needed concealment, but also throwing some grenades, trying to get that zoning pressure, that flush pressure to expose her remaining enemy players left on the map. Mai, too, going to be trying to find a new position herself as Xiaoyu continues on that path, trying to snake her way through. Mai, too, going to be spotting out Sunny, picks up a beautiful kill right there, leaving just 2 players remaining. A 1v1 situation as Xiaoyu spots out Mai, too, takes her down, and walks away with the first chicken dinner of game number 1 here in the Solos tournament.
Really, really great play. As she knew there were 3 people alive. As soon as that kill came in, she knew where the shots came from, lined it up perfectly, got up on her feet, spotted her, got her down. Really, really great play coming in from Xiaoyu, taking the win.
Yeah, what a great way to start the tournament. Emotions are going to be high, and she's going to be riding that all the way to the bank, hopefully, as we do have 4 more matches on the day.
Yeah, 4 more indeed. Welcome back. We're pulling back to the desk right now, but an interesting first game. This is just my own, what I had noticed myself, but basically the common thread from those circles, from the map, was that the river stayed in play for an incredible amount of time. And I don't know, what can you guys tell me about this? How impactful does that make a player's play, especially when solos, where you're not even able to get that much of a good position of control? Does the river impact you that much?
Yeah, it absolutely does. I mean, if there's anything we know about water in PUBG, it's not safe. It's going to be a pain in the butt, seriously, for any player, wherever you are, if there's water in play, and it sort of forces you to make that bet. Will it be on the west-hand side or the eastern side if that water actually splits the map? So you got to make a lot of decisions there, and sometimes it just doesn't work out in your favor.
Now, the other question that I had, though, was that again, so many players, maybe they didn't die to the blue, but they were still in the blue, still on the edge. It's only the first game of solos. They still are just now dipping their foot in the water, really see how what the lobby is like, what the map is going to be like. But how long do you think it's going to take for these players to get more aggressive, not just in terms of trying to kill each other, but also just in terms of positioning?
I think one of the core reasons, going back to actually what you were saying before with the river, was that people didn't want to over-push because the center for so long was the river. You cannot sit center in the water and hope the circles go there, right? So some of the people that were on the edge on the eastern side are just, as soon as the circle comes over to the eastern side, that's when we can shift away, because we know all these people will have to come from the western side and go over on our side. But since it went to the other side, you just get run over.
I mean, but there were people on the edge, people in the blue, for even long before the river was taken out of play.
Right.
There was a time that the river was dead center, or at least close to it, and there were still people away from the river. You'd think, Phil, that you'd want to get as close to the river as possible, because you are going to have to cross. There is a 50% chance that you're going to have to cross.
Exactly.
If you have to cross the river after going 200, 300, 400 meters as well, that's only going to make matters worse.
Right, so you want to sort of mitigate your risk, right? If you have to make that movement, at least you're there positioned right next to the river to quickly shift over to the opposite side. We see that played out on multiple different maps, but it really comes down to your play style as an individual. What works best for you here in this tournament?
Also in this specific scenario, as we do see the highlights coming in here in the background, in this specific scenario, it wasn't just the river. It was all, pretty much 80% of the circle that was in the river was Painan. It was a city. It's still water, but it's not more than 1 or 2 jump skips over and you will be across. So I think that's also, I mean, had it just been only big, wide 20-meter river, people would have forced the push earlier, but because the city was there to grant you some cover, didn't really force you to go that fast.
Isn't that a little... I don't know if I agree with that. Just based on the fact that you're going through a city that is so many different corners, and in solos, you never know where someone's lying in wait. So don't you think that you'd actually probably want to avoid one of the cities?
You'd think so, but I still mean the fact that you can say, but I can always make it down to the city. I think that's gonna be a benefit to the players in that scenario.
And this actually goes back, this replay right here goes back to what Esquire was saying about the water being so dangerous. Cece, she actually played this very, very well. If it was anyone just slightly less patient than Pauly there, she actually would have been able to get out of there. But Pauly was super patient, knew that someone was stuck in the water, and really wanted those 10 points from that. So Cece, unfortunately, wasn't able to escape from that.
Honestly, it was a good rotation for both of those players. They essentially reversed their positions on one another, both hoping that the other player was not going to move, and unfortunately, it just came out on top for Pauly.
Yeah. Also, the double barrel shotgun here. You were just hoping that Smile Queen
landed.
any shotgun kill is one to be celebrated because they are so few and far between.
This play right here. I mean, one thing is that it's a great nade thrown by Tuma to get it in and getting the kill, but it also just shows Sunny the fact that she made it so far. She gets the kill immediately after. She never engaged before she knew the first kill came in. Say, I don't need the 2 kills. I'll take the one that's free. Smart play coming in there.
I mean, you got to get the points when they're there. There's no reason to leave them just lying there, especially if you don't get that kill, you can easily have someone now shooting you in the back. But in the very end, we do see Sunny going down, making the top 2, and then Shiyu actually played the ending very, very well.
She did.
With the smokes especially, you don't see a lot of utility plays all that often, just because in times there are a lot of players that feel like, oh, if I throw a smoke, that's only going to give my position away. But I think at that point, when it's such open ground and there's only 3 people left, your position is likely known already. So
and she had the utility to work with, right? She was on the southern side for so long. She was like the snake that killed the other snake off, got herself that position. She was all by herself with like 3 hard shifts down towards her. She would never forced to use any utility while everyone else fighting their way to the other side of the river, having to use all their utility along the way.
Exactly. So definitely a very good game. Ooh.
Hey, who? Weird.
胜利了，那这边请诗一面对镜头跟所有的朋友打一个招呼。
So please say hi to
大家好，
everyone.
我是来自皇族 RTW 的诗一。
I'm from
诗一刚
RNG.
在最后这个决赛圈1v1的时候，是不是特别的紧张？
So were you
对
really
因为当
nervous
时
in
1v1 的
the last
时候它是
1v1?
有树当掩体的，但是我是在
Yeah, she had
草
cover
原上
it.
面，
She
所以
had a
当
tree
时
and I
会比较
didn't.
紧张
I
一
was
点。
out in plain
对，
sight,
这边
so
应
I
该
was
是
a little bit
比较
nervous.
瑟瑟发抖吧，因为并没有任何的掩蔽物。那这边
Yeah,
话
you
说
must
回来，
be-
其实昨
it
天
must
第一
been
天经过这
quite
个双排
nerve-wracking
的比
because you were
赛
out
之
in
后
open.
想问
So
一
how
下
are
诗
you
一，
feeling
你有没有
after
对哪些
yesterday's
选
duel
手印
match?
象深刻？
And who did you have
印
an
象
impression?
深刻的话，
Who made an
可能是
impression on
来
you?
自法国的小白金，还有我们中国选手
Little Big Whale from
MDY
France
婷。
哦，
and
是因
MDY
为他们
Ting
之前呢
made quite an
一直
impression
是
on me.
跟冠军队伍在积分排行榜并列第一嘛。
Because
对，
the
那
score
这
was
边
really
是很
close
可
with
惜，他们
the
第5
first
场
place
表
winner
现
from
不佳，
yesterday.
这边
But
最后总成
unfortunately,
绩是拿到
in the
了
last
第
round, they
3
didn't
名。
perform so
那不
well.
管怎么样
But
呢，
they
诗
still
一
had
在
a
我们
third
今天第
place.
1场的比赛表现特别的优异，也祝福你接下来的比赛可以非常的顺利。
好，谢谢。
好，谢谢，我们马上把现场交还给解说老师。
Goes to show, right? I mean, she talked about this. She was nervous in the open, but she had the utility. She smoked herself off. She played
Yeah.
it smart, and she won the game.
I mean, it's solos. You have no backup. You're not
Right.
going to get revived
Exactly.
if you're discovered. And the time to kill in this game well, it's a really good shot with a bolt action sniper rifle, 1 second. But even with the SMG, it's still quite low. So nerves and solos, I think, are going to be high in late circles for the majority, if not the entirety of this event. So I'm certain all of us, and as well as audiences at home, can relate to that. Here are the current game stats. Total points are going to be on the far right, and so Shiyu with 150, not too far ahead of the competition, but that's understandable. It's only been 1 game.
Yeah, I mean, pretty incredible scoreboard, what we're looking at right here. 140 points is what she was able to rack up, but just behind her, Mai2 going to be certainly trailing on the heels of Shiyu, trying to do whatever she can in these next 4 matches to end the day up on top.
Look at the distance traveled here from Mai2, right? She landed in Painan and was the only player to make it out alive. Charlie tried to make it out late, was caught in the blue, died because of it, but she made it out only 400 meters traveled the entire game.
I mean, you gotta take that when it happens.
Oh, yeah, for
it's
sure,
gonna
for
be
sure.
15 games. Every
Yeah,
one,
yeah, yeah.
unless you drop on the outskirts, like at Docks. Sorry, GOT. You're likely gonna have at least a couple of games that you
Yep.
don't have to travel that far. But on the flip side, not the highest travel. I think actually Nui's has probably traveled the most with.
I mean, 4 kilometers on Sanok, that's quite a bit of travel.
Yeah. But Jiu still traveled a fair bit, hitting like 2.5 kilometers. That's a fair bit of travel, and traveling in this game is really dangerous. The safest position is always standing still behind a rock holding an angle.
Yeah, and I mean, generally we see a correlation between travel time and going out early, right? The more you have to travel, generally the lower placement, or rather, I guess the higher placement. You go out earlier, the more you have to travel. It's one of the deadliest places to find yourself in competitive PUBG. It's making that move from point A to point B.
Kill points, unfortunately, at this low in the scoreboard is going to be all zeros, but that's just the way the cookie crumbles, and that's also why we have 15 games, so all this can get evened out.
One thing that's interesting to me, look at this, the two top fraggers from yesterday, 46th and 47th, Little Big Whale and Mametal. So we saw them yesterday, their insane fragging abilities, but this just goes to show when it's solos, you will get shot in the back sometimes. Maybe, who knows, maybe they'll drop somewhere else. They both got killed by other people in their compounds. That could force them to go elsewhere, but as we know, with this map the way it is, there will be people in the compounds they go to next too.
I'm going to bounce off of that because we saw in the very beginning, I forget who it was, but even though you guessed 5, there ended up only being 1 player at boot camp, and she then actually made the adjustment. She was originally going to the North Warehouse as a boot camp, saw that it was empty, say, I'll grab all of that loot. It's even better for me. But we saw a lot of people in the dead center on the River City.
Yeah.
Are we going to see a little bit more of that like adjustment on the drop positions? This isn't the same as duos or squads where you like have your position that you need full control of with your rest of your teammates. In Sinnoh, especially with the way that the loot distribution is, you could realistically loot 3 buildings and have a good amount of loot.
Here's the thing, you got to think about it. 48 players in this lobby. If you're going to be picking a different loot location, it's very likely that new location is going to have players in it as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's it for us for now. We are going to go to a break while we set up game number 2. We have 4 more of the day, so don't go anywhere. It's going to be a lot more action-packed games coming up.